Hi, this is Jaya. In this video, we shall see the summary of Captivity, a poem by Louise Erdrich. Captivity. This poem refers to the narrative of the captivity and restoration of Mrs. Mary Rowlandson, a 17th century autobiographical account of a Puritan woman who was abducted by the Wampango tribe after an attack on a village in Massachusetts in 1676. Rowlandson's narrative explores a struggle to maintain her Puritan faith while living among indigenous people, highlighting a fear of being spiritually and culturally altered by the experience. Edrich is a writer of Chippewa descent. Edrich's famous works are Love Medicine and The Round House. This poem, Captivity, opens with an epigraph from Mary Rowlandson's narrative, where her Wampanoag captor offers her a biscuit. Though starving, she hesitates to eat, fearing that consuming the food might make her love him through some kind of magic. Rowlandson's fear is of being changed by her captors and of losing her cultural and spiritual identity. After the epigraph, the speaker, that is Mary, describes the harsh circumstances, highlighting the violence and extreme conditions. For example, she says she is dragged by the ends of her hair by her captor. From there, Mary notes that she can distinguish her captor's face from the other members of the tribe, though they all look alike for her. And she sometimes feels afraid when she hears him speak his language, which she actually refers to as not human, mostly because she does not want to grow to understand it, as that would signal a change in her own identity. In these moments of anxiety, she prays to her God. Mary reflects on the tribe's flight from pursuers, but she is unsure who the true enemies are, describing the pursuers as the God's agents or pitch duels. This uncertainty highlights a moral and spiritual confusion as she questions the nature of good and evil. However, her only concern is survival. Despite her hardships, including her inability to feed her infant, the tribe shows her kindness. A native woman gives Mary's child milk of acorns, helping them to survive. Mary resumes her hostility and fear towards the Wampanoag as she vows to starve rather than eat food given to her by her captor. Yet when he kills a deer and fawn and offers her the tender meat, she cannot resist and enjoys the meal. That night she follows her captor and he releases her from her bondage to a tree. Mary begins to experience a deeper unease. Nature itself seems to turn against her, mocking and roaring, as she sees birds and trees as enemies. Her captor does not pay any mind to what Mary perceives as God's wrath, though she experiences intense fear while parts of the forest burn around her. Even though she feels terrified, she acknowledges that this too passed. Mary returns to her family after her captivity. However, once she has been rescued, she sees no truth in things. Her husband, a Puritan minister, cannot seem to farm their land successfully, which makes Mary question her faith. Even though she is in a relatively comfortable Christian home, she imagines herself with the Wapango again, the outside their circle. She is both with them and apart from them during the time of her captivity and after her rescue. Mary's most troubling realization is that her time in captivity altered her fundamentally and her experience with the tribe shifted her identity. In her memory, she hit the ground with a stick, begging it to open to admit her as she prayed for her own death, thus an end to her existential crisis. She searches for comfort in those moments but does not find it even when she returns to her everyday life with her husband and community. Now let's read the poem. He, my captor, gave me a biscuit, which I put in my pocket and not daring to eat it, buried it under a log, fearing he had put something in it to make me love him. From the narrative of the captivity of Mrs. Mary Rowlandson, who was taken prisoner by the Wampango, who, when Lancaster, Massachusetts, was destroyed in the year 1676. The stream was swift and so cold, I thought I would be sliced in two, but it dragged me from the flood by the ends of my hair. I had grown to recognize his face. I could distinguish it from the others. There were times I feared I understood his language, which was not human, and I knelt to pray for strength. We were pursued by God's agents or pitch devils, I did not know. Only that we must march. Their guns were loaded with span shot. I could not suckle, and my child's wail put them in danger. He had a woman with teeth black and glittering. She fed the child milk of acorns. The forest closed, the light deepened. I told myself that I would starve before I took food from his hands, but I did not starve. One night he killed a deer with a young one in her and gave me to eat the fawn. It was so tender, the bones like the stems of flowers. That I followed where he took me. The night was thick. He cut the cord that bound me to the tree. After the birds mocked, shadows gaped and roared, and the trees flung down. They sharpened lashes. He did not notice God's wrath. God blasted fire from half buried stumps. I hid my face in my dress, fearing he would burn us all. Here he means God. But this too passed. Rescued, I see no truth in things. My husband drives a thick wedge through the earth, still it shuts to him year after year. My child is fed of the first wheat. I lay myself to sleep on a holland laced pillow beer. I lay to sleep, and in the dark I see myself as I was outside their circle. They knelt on deerskin, some with sticks, and he led his company in the noise until I could no longer bear the thought of how I was. I stripped a branch and struck the earth in time, begging it to open to admit me as he was, and fed me honey from the rock. And here ends the poem. If you have anything more to add on to what I've said, please write it in the comment box. Like the video, share it with your friends, and if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe and support. Thank you.